just lost my phone. And I don't know where to go. My friends are getting stoned. Somewhere on a boat. Yeah. Though I feel alright.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Magic City Morse. Today, as promised, we're doing the species spotlight video on boa constrictors. We have 4 boa constrictors here at Magic City Morse. Harley here is one of them. She's our hypoharlequin boa constrictor. She is going to be 3 years old in April. She is maturing very well. She's looking amazing, as you can see. She's putting on some good size there. And size is one of the things we're going to definitely talk about when it comes to these animals. Ren is joining me today. So this is her second time actually really being in a video where she's old enough to kind of see things going on around her and notice kind of what's happening. She doesn't know what these are yet, but she's noticing the snakes and the dogs. So she's learning how to pet animals, and it's really, really awesome. So, you know, she's kind of learning. She's learning how to pet these animals. She's learning how to be around them. She's watching us be around them. So that's something that's really, really good for her at this age. She's 8 months old now. So once she gets to be around 1, she's going to definitely be already kind of used to these animals. And she'll just continue to learn more from there. But let's go ahead and talk about boa constrictors, guys, because that is our subject of today. So boa constrictors, obviously they are in the constrictor category. The Colombian boa constrictors, which are most commonly sold at reptile shows, you know, pet stores, things like that, they're going to come from the Central American region. There's BCI, which stands for Boa Constrictor Imperator or Imperator. You can say either one. And then there's BCC, which stands for Boa Constrictor Constrictor. And the two are different. Harley here and all the boa constrictors that we have here at Magic City Morse are BCI. So Boa Constrictor Imperator or Imperator. And so these guys are not going to get as big as a BCC, which is actually what a true red-tailed boa is. A lot of boas that are sold in pet stores are listed as red-tailed boas or Colombian red-tails, but they're not true red-tails because the true red-tails actually get a lot bigger. These guys can top out, usually in captivity, females about 10 feet. She'll get between 7 and 10 feet long. Some people say that females can get as large as 14 feet long in captivity. I think that's really rare. Males, they tend to be on the smaller side. If you didn't know, a lot of snakes are sexually dimorphic. So the females are always usually going to be bigger. So Harley here, when she gets to be an adult, she'll need at least a 6 by 2 foot or probably an 8 by 2 foot enclosure. That's another thing we're going to talk about is enclosure size with these guys, okay? Because when you get these, a lot of times you get them as a baby. And they're going to be so small that they could fit in the palm of your hand. And that's what people run into a lot of times when they go to a reptile show and they just decide to get one. They don't realize that very quickly these guys are going to start, you know, putting on some size, and they're going to need enclosure upgrades. It's very important. So if you can't provide that for these animals, that's not really a great snake for you. I would classify these guys as an intermediate to advanced level snake. Obviously, you want to hook train these guys. They have a very good food response, and if you don't know what that is, there's a lot of videos on it. And basically, these snakes have a very high food drive. They're kind of always anticipating a meal. So it's very important to hook or tap train them from a young age and let them know when it's time to eat, when it's not time to eat, and time to handle, because they will learn that if you use the hook and you effectively tap train them. So one other thing is, you know, these guys are not that difficult to keep, but you have to have your humidity and your temperature right. For these guys, usually on the hot side, it's usually between 88 and 90, 88 and 91, and then usually for the cool side, they say 80 to 85. You could get away with the high 70s, but you know, you want to keep that in mind. You don't want it to get too cool for these guys. She's very interested in these guys now, as you can tell. But the humidity requirements, you usually want to always keep it between 60 and 70%. We usually mist our enclosures at least twice a day, usually 3 times a day if we know that they're in a shed, which Harley actually just got done going through a shed. So, you know, she needed the extra humidity, which we provide that for her. When boa constrictors are younger, they're babies to juveniles, you can get away with feeding them a hopper mouse to an adult mouse every 1 to 2 weeks. When they get between 1 year to 3 to 4 years, you want to do every 2 to 3 weeks a larger prey item. Some people go to XXXL rats, so you can do frozen thawed guinea pigs and rabbits. These snakes get pretty large, so that's why you need these larger prey items when they get older and fully grown. So that's one thing that you need to keep in mind when it comes to being able to afford the food for these animals. One other thing that I want to talk about before we go and we end our species spotlight video on boa constrictors is we want to talk about having a spotter. Even if you hook train or tap train these snakes, you really do need another adult around if you're going to hold one of these fully grown, especially a female that's going to get on the larger side, because sometimes accidents happen and you could have an accidental food bite and get wrapped by one of these guys, and you would need somebody to help you be able to unwrap the snake. Also, these guys are just incredibly strong. They're pure muscle. So if you accidentally get wrapped around the neck or somewhere like that too tight, you would want a spotter around to help you remove that snake, because it's just about being safe. You can own these animals and you can have an awesome time with them. You can be, you know, very responsible with them if you do everything the right way. We just have to have an immense respect for these animals, for what they are, how they are, and know how to handle them, know how to read their body language. That is the most important thing when it comes to owning a large constrictor like a boa constrictor. It's not an issue of these animals wanting to hurt us or trying to hurt us. It's just that sometimes because they have a really good food response, they can mistake something for a food item and basically bite first, ask questions later. We really hope that you enjoyed today's species spotlight video. I know it's been a long time coming and I finally got this up for you guys. The next one we will do will be on reticulated pythons, but before that, like I've told you before, in between these different themed videos, we're going to be doing a breeding update, which I've got some exciting things I'm going to be telling you about our journey for this season. So stay tuned for that, and thank you guys for watching.